Guys, did you know that Sonic the Hedgehog, yes, the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog, has had a rough history in 3D ever since he made the jump with Sonic Adventure? Man, it's crazy. It's like, I really wish someone would start up a Sonic review talking about the rough history that Sonic has had since 1999. By this point, the life and times of Hedgehog, Sonic the may as well be taught in school with how many times people want to talk about just what type of a crazy past this Hedgehog has and what he did to the gaming industry. I think by now, we all kind of get it. Okay, so a quick summary here. We have massive nostalgia. Where's the Chow Garden, Sega? Oh man, there are just simply too many friends. Oh wow, a gun. What the
Damn.
Let's cut right to the chase with this one. 2006 was not necessarily the best year in the world of green hills and soap shoe wearing blue hedgehogs. Sonic 06, boy, wasn't that a game? Well, around and after this came a non-stop string of titles that just sort of exist now, for better or for worse. And in some instances, way worse. And then there's also Sonic Rush Adventure, that one was pretty good. But out of nowhere, this brand new Sonic footage dropped on the internet. What is this? Speed? A swap between 2D and 3D gameplay on the fly? Really catchy music? Wow. Okay, I still don't really fully understand what I'm looking at, but it looks like Sega is finally getting their act together. Aw, son of a damn. Sonic Unleashed recently celebrated its 10-year anniversary. It's crazy to think that it's been that long. This game did leave a huge impact on the franchise. After this one, so far there have been 4, quote, mainline Sonic games, 3 of which use the same exact engine that was established in Unleashed, the Hedgehog engine. Truthfully, this is the first time I'm playing this game. I don't know why it eluded me for all those 10 years, but it has. I did play the Wii version when it came out, but as far as the HD proper version, no, this is a brand new playthrough for me, so I'm a little excited. Let's go ahead and finally knock this one off the backlog list. I'm gonna make someone mad with this video, aren't I? Well, if it's one thing that the dev team never really skimped on, it was the production value. This opening cutscene is, quite frankly, ridiculous. The cinematography is, dare I say, fantastic? Graphically, I mean, this is incredible. I would watch an entire movie based on this style. Just look at the reflections on Sonic's shoes. Wow, okay, in no time flat, this cutscene gets just what Sonic is. Eggman is surely doing something bad in the middle of space. Sonic is here to do something about it thanks to his whole gotta go fast thing. Even when Dr. Eggman gets a hold of Sonic, nope, Super Sonic comes through. But it turns out that Eggman had a backup plan all along, trapping Sonic and absorbing the Chaos Emeralds out of him. Oh yeah, this face. Boy, getting really nostalgic looking at this image. This was everywhere in 2008. With the power that Eggman now has under his possession, he shoots a giant beam onto the planet, shattering it into multiple pieces, awakening the evil Dark Gaia that was hidden under the planet's surface the whole time. So that's what's under there. And Eggman, come on, did you not learn anything from the last time you shot the moon? And for whatever reason, the process of Eggman shooting that giant laser beam, it turned Sonic into the Werehog. Oh, I hate the name Werehog so much. In all honesty, I'm actually okay with the design. It's just the existence that's weird. Dare I say, dumb. I mean, look at this. That's pretty dumb. So during Sonic's rapid descent onto the planet, he falls on a poor, helpless, talking, flying chihuahua, later named Chip, due to his affection over a chocolate ice cream snack. And the kicker is, he is now suffering from amnesia. So there you go. There's the plot. Go stop Eggman, wonder what game he's playing in his Dreamcast, fix up Chip along the way, and keep dealing with the ever-changing furriness level of Sonic's coat. And with the help of your good old buddy Tails and one of his mentors, Professor Pickle, man, what are with these names? Sonic and Chip go on a quest around the planet, visiting different temples on each continent in order to refuse the planet back together. And once the game kicks off, the story kinda takes a relative backseat, and it's honestly for the best. I mean, you got Sonic versus Eggman, that's all we really need. There are some charming cutscenes that pop up pretty frequently, as well as some solid story progression. Nothing really crazy though. Simplicity is key, and it's pretty solid stuff here. Being that this is a Sonic game, there are a few different styles going on here. Most widely known is the daytime stages, where you get to play as Sonic moving at an incredibly high speed, aka fast. And even though at the time this was a new take on the 3D Sonic formula, this is actually a bit of an evolution of the Sonic Rush gameplay style. You see, that game introduced the idea of Sonic being able to boost at will by filling up a meter. And now, we get that in a modern console setting too. And if I'm being honest with you, damn, these levels are just so good. Foregoing any element of exploration that the previous games had, the gameplay in Unleashed is more so reaction-based. Like you would expect, there are plenty of split pathways to be discovered, but you gotta be able to react as soon as, if not right before, those paths show up for you to reach them. Typically in this franchise, the Sonic levels are better when replaying them multiple times over, because by that point, you learn the lay of the land, and you figure out your preferred way of going from point A to point B as fast and as seamless as possible. But that idea is emphasized even more so here. Your first playthrough here is gonna be pretty rough if you try to boost the whole way through. But you know, you take your time, you go back to the level once, twice, 3 times, however many times it takes. But after a while, when everything just sort of clicks and you know exactly what's coming, oh, it's great stuff. And considering Sonic Team couldn't stop working with this gameplay style, I'm inclined to think that they agree. Now, this is a bit of a controversial topic that you could take any side on, but really now for me, I'm okay with this speed-based gameplay that does quite frequently toss a bunch of crap in your way that you didn't see coming. I know that doesn't really make for good level design, but with the replayability of Sonic games, those levels get a whole lot better when you know what crap to avoid. Beginner's traps are never really a good idea, but in this instance, I don't hate it. Hope that's okay with everyone else. But then the night comes, and oh man. Okay, so we really need to set the stage here. During the late 2000s, games that were based off of the style of God of War were everywhere. And for whatever reason, the developers at Sonic Team thought it would make sense to add that gameplay style into a Sonic game. It's not something I would have thought of, so points for originality. These stages basically see you running in a straight line, doing some minor platforming, and mostly just beating up hundreds upon hundreds of dark creatures with your stretchy arms that you have for whatever reason, who knows, nothing matters anymore. And you can upgrade your moveset and unlock some new combos, but this is really a button masher through and through. And it's really sort of like how I explained the concept of the Werehog. This is dumb. This is really, really dumb. But I actually don't hate it. Combat isn't really all that satisfying, the platforming is super simplistic, puzzles are often just there to waste your time, as evidenced by, oh my god, those level times, and the battle music. Okay, let me just talk about the battle music. The soundtrack to these levels is honestly fantastic, but every time you do so much as think of an enemy, it comes out of nowhere, man, it just happens, just that it keeps happening. All right, let me just pick up this guy real quick. Why is it playing now? All I did was touch him. Looking past the sheer dumbness of this simply existing, the Werehog segments are just boring. They're not really all that bad. They're dumb, but they're not bad. It's the boring part that's the problem. With stages that go on for roughly a half hour with nothing of worth really happening during them, I think it's safe to classify these as boring. I really like the idea of exploring different continents thoroughly, and slower gameplay is not a bad idea to get that stuff done, but since this is a Sonic game we're talking about here, couldn't you have like sped it up a little bit and then make it Knuckles instead, and like call it a spiritual successor to Sonic and Knuckles and then call it a day? Actually, Knuckles isn't in this game at all. Okay, rule number 1 of how to make a video game bad, you don't put Knuckles in it. Really now, the entire game is just filled with padding. 2 times throughout the adventure, there are these tornado segments, and they're just terrible. There were a couple in Sonic Adventure as well, and I'm assuming this is supposed to be a throwback to that, but at least there it was somewhat a recognizable shooter section. Here, You just press the buttons that pop up on the screen. Can't move. Oh, but sometimes it asks you to do buttons in a 3-string sequence. It's riveting. And then you have hub worlds that you'd have to constantly run through to progress the story. And normally I do like hub worlds, and there are some neat things about these, like there are people that are scattered throughout the entire area that all have a bit of their own unique personalities. Sometimes they give out side quests. It's pretty neat stuff, but it just takes far too long to get to your destination. Going back to Sonic Adventure once again, those hub worlds were basically just a bunch of portals to levels that were spread throughout the world. Here, you gotta navigate through a town or a village before you get to a level section, and then you gotta find the level portal that you want to get to, and make sure you stand still on top of it before you can start the loading process. It just takes too long. And of course, I can't forget about the sun and moon medals. Joy. So this didn't happen very often during my playthrough. I typically took the time out to go and look for them. But the way the game is structured, levels can only be accessed after finding enough sun and moon medals throughout the other levels and hub worlds. And I don't know, just in case you missed how fast the Sonic levels were, because you blink and you miss it, am I right? Slowing down and exploring within them isn't really that fun. It's a much easier task to do in the night levels and the hub worlds, but at some point, you are gonna have to grind out daytime playthroughs to boost your medal count. And that kinda sucks. And all of this leads to the penultimate final level, Eggman Land. Ooh, this is one theme park I'm not stopping at the gift shop at. Aesthetically, I love it. He's been wanting to build Eggman or Robotnik Land forever now, and it's cool that we get to see it actually happen. And the fact that it's like this weird dark theme park, I like that a whole lot. And it's the only level in the game where you switch between Hedgehog and Werehog on the fly. On paper, sure, I can work with this. In execution, why? It's unfortunate, but Sonic Unleashed is a game with one awesome gameplay style that you only get to experience after you sift through a lot of fluff. But ultimately, to give credit where credit is due, the developers certainly cared about what they were making. This game is absolutely gorgeous. With the idea of traveling across the world, you're exposed to so many different aesthetics and varied level designs as a result, with an awesome soundtrack to accompany it. Also, one of the levels takes place in New York City. I was born in Brooklyn. I love this so much. It is a super charming adventure, and I can certainly appreciate that. And the game even ends with a pretty epic and large-scale final fight, where you, as Super Sonic, team up with Chip, who is actually Light Gaia, the antithesis of Dark Gaia. All hail our Chihuahua overlords. Fight Dark Gaia in the center of the planet with really awesome orchestrated music going behind it. It's pretty cool. Even though, in my opinion, the concept and the execution of the Werehog was a mistake, Sonic Team was definitely trying to make up for previous mistakes, which is, again, very appreciated. The cartoony style of Unleashed is what this series needs. Sure, there are humans, and you can debate whether or not they should be in the franchise at all, but I will certainly take these over that. But if we were to, say, remove all of the padding, and just make a game that is a constant stream of levels, we may actually have something here. I am glad you asked. Released alongside the HD versions, Sonic Unleashed was also released on the Wii and PlayStation 2. There was also a version on mobile phones, and that's as much as I'm gonna say on that. While conceptually it is obviously the same game, it is a much more streamlined experience. Now this was surely done because of weaker hardware, but in some aspects, it's actually for the best. Like for example, hunting for sun and moon medals? That's gone. Now you just receive them for completing levels and passing a couple of thresholds. Didn't like the hub worlds like I did? Well, now you have a clickable image file. It's bizarre, but it at least gets you to the action faster. Oh, but what about the tornado missions, you ask? They are non-existent here as well. Oh, what a relief. The cutscenes also run better on this version. Since they're pre-rendered as opposed to using the real-time models, there aren't any frame rate drops. Score 1 for the weaker hardware. This version of the game is primarily about the levels, which are all unique. They just share the same aesthetics as the HD counterpart. Mechanically, both versions are pretty similar. The daytime levels aren't as flashy or boost heavy, but they still have a solid sense of speed. and the nighttime levels limit exploration and make enemies quicker to defeat, making the entire process feel a whole lot faster, especially since levels now only take a few minutes. But instead of one 20 to 25 minute level, there's 3 or 4 5-minute levels back to back instead. So it's still just as uneven as ever. A couple stages even flat out get removed, one of which is my precious Empire City. As a born and raised New Yorker, I'm upset. Although something that was added, the whole Gaia Temple thing, they're actually explorable in this version as opposed to just a cutscene in the HD one. These offer up some extra mini challenges behind these doors that open up after you have enough medals. Now that is how it should be done. Those collectibles should be for extras, not main game progression. On the whole, this version isn't necessarily better or worse than the quote proper version, but it's different. It is a different version of the same title. Having a game on 2 different home consoles that are the same and different at the same time? That's certainly an oddity. Sonic Unleashed served as a great apology for Sonic being kissed by a human, an image that is burned into everybody's psyche. But really, with this game, there are just too many problems here that I can't ignore that hold this game back. There are many people that are nostalgic for it, and I can appreciate that. This game has something special going on, and it did lay the groundwork for the franchise going forward. 10 years later, I do think it should be celebrated. That being said, do I recommend playing it? Hell no! Have you been watching this video? The frame rate for this game is atrocious on PlayStation 3. I have been told that on Xbox 360 it does run better, but it still does like to chug from time to time. Either way, your mileage is gonna vary. You already know where I'm going with this, the Unleashed Project. This is a mod for the PC version of Sonic Generations that ports over all of the daytime levels with some better controls and smooth 60 frames per second. Ooh, this is nice. There's no sort of filler here either. From start to finish, it is pure and fast Sonic goodness. It's a pretty short adventure, but at the very end, you unlock a playable Super Sonic. Now that is pretty cool. The day levels play better than they ever have. There's no Werehog, no hub world, no tornado segment, no fluff, just pure Sonic gameplay. And I gotta tell you, it's pretty beautiful. Now, I don't want to say a bunch of fans made the discs that were made 10 years ago obsolete. Oh damn, I just did that, didn't I?